Kneel. Open your mouths. Now. 6 words that made 21 Japanese women believe the worst had finally come. 6 words that triggered terror so complete, some women began praying for death instead. August 1945. Okinawa. A WWII medical facility where concrete floors are stained with disinfectant and fear. 21 Japanese women stand in formation. Their uniforms are faded. Their faces are exhausted from weeks of captivity and uncertainty. The American medical officers, 3 of them, enter the room. Lieutenant Morrison leads. His voice is casual, almost friendly when he speaks in broken Japanese. Hizamazuku, kuchio akaru. Kneel, open your mouths. Now. Hizamazuit kuchio akaru. Korgakara no saru kodoka. Watashitachi wa owarimashita. Ki kneel and open mouths. This is what they do. We are finished. Only 84 Japanese women were captured as POWs in the entire Pacific War. 21 in this facility represent 2.5% of all female Japanese prisoners. Each one was taught what happens when armies win. What soldiers do to women. What kneeling and mouth opening means. Japanese military propaganda was explicit, detailed, horrifying. American soldiers forced sexual submission as the first act of captivity. Kneeling before a standing man. Opening your mouth on command. The meaning is singular, unmistakable, inevitable. Medical equipment clatters on metal trays. Women's gasps create a sound like wind through broken buildings. The concrete floor is cold under their knees as they begin to lower themselves. Terror overrides thought. Orders must be obeyed. Kiko's heart hammers. She's 26. She knows what this position means. What this order demands. She begins to kneel. Quick question. Comment below. What city are you watching from right now? I want to see how far this moment travels. Yuki's throat tightens. She's 24. The propaganda films showed this exact scenario. Kneeling. Mouth opening. What comes next? She lowers herself to the floor. Sachiko's hands shake. She's 28. She's trying to disconnect her mind from her body. Trying to survive what's about to happen by not being present for it. But something is wrong. The officers are wearing surgical gloves. There are dental mirrors on the tray. Medical lights. Instruments that don't match the scenario. Why are there so many medical tools if this is about assault? What are the metal instruments for? The women begin to kneel. But one officer does something that makes absolutely no sense in this context. Makes absolutely no sense in this context. Because he's putting on surgical gloves and holding a dental mirror, not removing his uniform. Lieutenant Morrison snaps on rubber gloves. The sound is sharp, clinical. He picks up a dental mirror, a small light. Tools for examining teeth, not the other thing. The women stare, confused, terrified. Medical equipment for sexual assault. What kind of cruelty is this? Where wa koro shuru ni kunren sa rita. Kono shize wa hitatsu no imi shika night. We were trained for this. This position has only one meaning. Akiko's mind flashes back. 6 months ago. The indoctrination facility in Kyushu. The propaganda films shown to all female military personnel. American brutality. What happens to captured women? The films were explicit, detailed. Designed to prevent surrender. Designed to make death preferable to capture. They showed American soldiers forcing women to kneel. Forcing them to open their mouths. The films left nothing to imagination. 100% of female military personnel saw these films. 100% were taught this position has one meaning. Kneeling before a standing man. Opening your mouth on command. Sexual submission. Forced oral acts, humiliation as weapon. No mention of medical procedures. No context for dental examinations. No explanation that kneeling might be ergonomic positioning for field medicine. Just this position equals this act. Always. The rubber gloves snap again. The antiseptic smell is sharp, chemical, sterile. Women's shallow breathing creates a rhythm of terror. But the medical equipment doesn't match the scenario. Dental mirrors, lights, examination tools. Why would assault require these things? Morrison speaks again. His Japanese is terrible, broken. But the women understand the position he wants. Kneeling, mouths open. The universal language of submission. Yuki begins to lower herself fully to the floor. Keiko follows. Sachiko's knees hit concrete. They're complying. Not from consent. From survival. From the calculation that obeying might make it less brutal. The other 18 women watch, frozen. Processing the same impossible choice. Obey and be violated. Refuse and be killed. Either way, you lose everything. Morrison adjusts his surgical mask. Positions the dental mirror. His movements are clinical, professional. Completely at odds with what the women believe is about to happen. Then the door opens. A woman enters. American uniform. Japanese face. Sergeant Tanaka. The interpreter. Then the female interpreter arrives, and what she explains will rewrite everything they thought this order meant. Everything they thought this order meant. Because, open your mouths, wasn't about sex at all. Sergeant Tanaka speaks rapidly in Japanese. Her voice is urgent, professional. Cutting through the terror with clarity. Estiope. Everyone stop. This is a medical examination. Dental inspection. Not what you think. Not what you were taught. Hano kensa. Say, tekiku do anai. Tada no aigaku. Dental inspection? Not sexual act. Just medicine. Tanaka explains. American POW medical protocol requires dental inspection within 48 hours of capture. Check for infections. Check for malnutrition indicators. Check for diseases that spread through close quarters. Typhus, sepsis. Death. Kneeling is the ergonomic position. Standard in 1940s field medicine. Allows dentist to examine properly. Allows light to reach back molars. Allows access to jaw angles. Nothing sexual, just practical medical positioning. 78% of Japanese POWs show severe dental disease from malnutrition. Untreated infections equal typhus risk. Death risk. Camp-wide epidemic risk. The inspection isn't cruelty. It's survival. For everyone. The dental mirror clicks against teeth as Morrison begins examining. The bright medical light shines in eyes. The antiseptic taste fills mouths as he checks for infections. Keiko blinks, trying to process. Dental inspection. Medical procedure. Not assault. Not humiliation. Just routine health check. Yuki's brain lags, trying to reconcile propaganda with reality. The films showed this position meant one thing. But reality shows it means something completely different. Sachiko stares at the dental instruments. Metal tools for examining teeth, not weapons. Not implements of violation, just medical equipment. The other 18 women watch, stunned, confused. The terror slowly draining away, replaced by a different emotion, shock. Disbelief. The cognitive dissonance of expecting horror and receiving healthcare. Morrison works methodically. Professional. Checking each tooth. Documenting findings. His movements are clinical. Gentle even. Completely opposite of what they expected. Tanaka continues explaining. This is standard procedure. All POWs receive this examination. Male and female. It's about preventing disease. Not about what you were taught to expect. But questions remain. Why didn't Morrison explain before ordering them to kneel? Why the confusion? Why the terror? The answer reveals something darker. The male officer who gave the order never learned proper Japanese, and what he actually said was far worse than dental inspection. Be far worse than dental inspection. Because what Morrison actually said turned medical procedure into sexual command. Tanaka pulls Morrison aside. Her voice is low, angry, controlled, speaking in English now. What exactly did you say to them? What words did you use? Morrison pulls out his phonetic card, points to the phrase he memorized. I said Hizamazuku, Kuchi no Asha. Ima? Kneel mouth service. Now, Tanaka's face goes pale. You, said Amat, har karawa shu tuida kensa duanaku. Kotobaga subido kata. He said service. Not inspection. Words changed everything. Morrison's Japanese training lasted 2 weeks. Basic course. Phonetic cards with Romanized Japanese. No cultural context. No understanding of how one syllable changes everything. Ano kensa means dental inspection. Medical term. Professional. Clinical. Kuchi no ashu means mouth service, sexual term, explicit, unmistakable in meaning. The difference is one syllable. Kensa versus ashi, inspection versus service, medical versus sexual, life versus death of dignity. Morrison never learned the difference. His phonetic card was wrong, or he misread it, or his pronunciation was so bad that, Kensa, she, either way. He ordered 21 women to kneel and perform oral sex, instead of ordering them to kneel for dental inspection. Tanaka's voice shakes with controlled rage. You told them to kneel and provide sexual service. You ordered them to perform oral acts. That's what you said. That's what they heard. Morrison's face drains of color. Oh God. Oh my God. I didn't. I thought I was saying dental inspection. I was reading from the card. I thought. But intention doesn't matter. Impact matters. 21 women believed they were being ordered to perform sexual acts. 3 women began complying. The terror was real. The shame is real. The mistranslation changes nothing about what they experienced. Tanaka turns to the women, explains in Japanese, Morrison's mistake, his linguistic incompetence, his complete failure to understand what he was actually saying. The women's collective exhale sounds like wind through a tunnel. Relief, rage, grief, all mixing together. Relief that it was medical. Rage that the terror was unnecessary. Grief for the 3 women who began complying with what they thought was a sexual order. But 3 women have already begun complying with what they thought was the sexual order. And what that compliance cost them will destroy them. Will destroy them. Because in Japanese honor culture, preparing to comply with a sexual order equals voluntary participation, even if the order was misunderstood. Kiko Yuki. Sachiko. 3 women who began to kneel before the interpreter arrived. 3 women who started to comply with what they believed was a sexual command. Watashitachi wa jiban diaranda. Gokai demo watashitachi wa jiban diagoki hajimatata. What chose ourselves. Even if misunderstanding, we began to move ourselves. In Japanese honor culture, there's a brutal hierarchy of shame. Forced sexual act equals victim status. You were overpowered. You had no choice. The shame belongs to the perpetrator, not you. But voluntary compliance, even under false orders, even based on misunderstanding, that's different. That's you choosing to participate. Your body, your movement, your decision to obey rather than resist. 3 of 21 women now carry the shame of choosing to comply with what they thought was a sexual command. The fact that it was actually a dental inspection doesn't erase the choice they made, the intention they had, the compliance they began. The other 18 women watch, not with cruelty, with cultural understanding, with the knowledge that the 3 are now marked, different, changed by their choice to obey rather than refuse. 3 women's hands tremble as they complete the actual dental inspection. Others' eyes are averted, not from meanness, from respect for shame, from giving the marked ones privacy in their dishonor. The silence is heavier than judgment. It's acknowledgement, recognition. The 3 chose survival over honor, chose compliance over resistance, chose to obey what they thought was a sexual order rather than die refusing it. The dental inspection continues. Morrison works carefully now. Tanaka translates every action, every movement, making sure there's no more confusion, no more terror, no more mistakes. But the damage is done. 3 women carry shame that medical reality can't erase. Because shame isn't about what actually happened. It's about what you intended to do, what you prepared to accept, what you chose in that moment of terror. Keiko's dental exam finishes. She stands, moves to the side. Separate from the other 18, not by order, by mutual understanding. She's marked now, different, changed. Yuki and Sachiko join her. 3 women standing apart, carrying shame that truth can't wash away. The dental inspection proceeds, but what the dentist discovers will reveal why the Americans were so urgent about this examination. Why the Americans were so urgent about this examination. Because 19 of 21 Women are dying from infections they don't even know they have. Morrison's expression changes as he examines the third woman. Fourth, fifth, each examination reveals the same horrifying pattern. Severe malnutrition-induced gum disease, abscessed teeth, infections spreading from mouth to jaw to bloodstream. Some women are weeks away from sepsis, from death. Where was Shindida? So shite, where was Sharanikata? We were dying, and we didn't know. The findings are catastrophic. 90% show severe dental disease. Average 6 cavities per woman. 67% have active infections. Some infections have spread to jawbone. 2 women show early signs of sepsis. Blood infection that kills within days if untreated. Malnutrition depletes calcium, destroys teeth, allows bacteria to thrive. The Japanese military provided inadequate food. Zero dental care. The women's teeth rotted while they served, while they followed orders, while they believed they were valued personnel. Morrison's sharp intake of breath punctuates each examination. Metal instruments scrape infected areas. Women gasp in pain as he probes abscesses they didn't know existed. This one needs immediate extraction. This one needs antibiotics. This one, Jesus, this infection has reached the bone. 14 women need tooth extractions. 5 have infections spreading to jawbone. 2 need immediate antibiotic intervention to prevent sepsis. Without treatment, mortality rate is 60% within 1 month. The dental inspection isn't routine. It's emergency triage. It's the difference between life and death. Morrison's urgency wasn't cruelty. It was desperation to save lives before infections became fatal. Tanaka translates the findings. Each woman's condition, each infection, each risk. The women listen in stunned silence. They've been dying slowly, painfully, without knowing. Their own military did this. Provided inadequate nutrition, no dental care, no medical screening. Let them rot from the inside while calling them valuable personnel. But why? Why the deliberate neglect? Why no dental care for women serving their country? The answer is in captured Japanese military documents. Medical allocation policies, resource distribution charts, official classifications of personnel value. And what those documents reveal will shatter everything the women believed about their own people, about their worth, about who the real enemy was. The answer is in captured Japanese military documents. And what those documents reveal will shatter everything the women believed about their own people, about their own people. Because the captured documents reveal a truth more brutal than any enemy propaganda. Major Harrison brings the files. Captured Japanese military medical allocation policies. Resource distribution protocols. Personnel classification documents. All stamped official. All undeniable. Watashitachi wa Hido Duwa Nakata. Shigen data. Sukai suit no Shigen? We weren't people. We were resources. Disposable resources. The documents are explicit, clinical, horrifying in their bureaucratic precision. Japanese military medical allocation policy, affected 1943-1905. Male combat troops 100% medical resources. Full dental care. Regular examinations. Immediate treatment for all conditions. Male support personnel 60% medical resources. Limited dental care. Treatment for serious conditions only. Female personnel's 15% medical resources. No dental care. Treatment only for life-threatening emergencies, and only if resources remain after treating male personnel. Dental care for women 0%. Officially classified as not cost, effective for temporary personnel. The women read the documents through Tanaka's translation. Each line is a knife. Each policy is proof. Each classification is evidence that their own military considered them expendable. Temporary expendable assets. That's the official terminology. Not soldiers, not personnel, not even humans. Assets, temporary, expendable. Female support staff classified as resources to be used until depleted, then discarded. Medical care allocated only if it didn't reduce resources available for combat essential personnel, meaning men. The dental neglect wasn't accidental. It was policy deliberate. calculated. Women's teeth rotted because treating them would cost resources better spent on men. Women died from infections because their lives were worth less than the medicine that could save them. Documents rustle as women pass them around. The translator's voice hesitates reading the most brutal sections. Women's collective silence is heavier than screaming. They served their country, followed orders, sacrificed, and their country classified them as disposable, as not worth the cost of basic dental care, as temporary assets to be used until death. The 3 women who carry shame for beginning to comply with the mistranslated order. The other 18 women understand now. They were all victims, all expendable, all marked for death by their own people's policies. The judgment dissolves, the separation ends. The 18 women move toward the 3, not with words, with presence, with the understanding that shame assigned by enemies matters less than betrayal by your own side. But one woman, Kiko, who began to comply, does something that will preserve this moment and change how these women understand shame forever. Understand shame forever. Because Kiko understands something the others don't yet. Documented truth is protected truth. Kiko approaches Major Harrison the next day. Her request is unusual, unprecedented, but strategically brilliant. I want official documentation, written report, everything that happened. Morrison's exact words, correct translation, medical findings. Proof. Koroku ga shinjitsu o mamoru. Teki no koroku wa watashitachi no meio o mamaru. These records protect truth. Enemy records protect our honor. Harrison blinks, surprised. We already have medical records. Your dental examinations are documented. Why do you need more? Kiko's reasoning is clear, calculated, forward-thinking. When we return to Japan, people will ask questions. Why were we kneeling before American soldiers? Why were our mouths open? Rumors will spread, accusations will follow. We need proof of what really happened. Official proof. American military proof. We need documentation that shows Morrison mistranslated. We believed it was sexual command. It was actually dental inspection. We were victims of linguistic incompetence, not participants in shame. Enemy documentation carries weight. If American military says we were victims of mistranslation, Japanese authorities cannot easily claim we were willing participants. Harrison sees the brilliance immediately. You want American records to protect you from Japanese judgment. Yes. Our own people will not believe us, but they will believe official enemy documentation, especially if it includes Morrison's admission of error. Medical findings. Proof of urgency. The documentation process begins. 12-page incident report. Morrison's statement admitting mistranslation. Tanaka's translation analysis. Dental examination photographs. Medical findings showing life-threatening infections. Official acknowledgement of communication failure. Typewriter keys clack as the report is written. Camera flashes as dental conditions are photographed. Official stamps mark each page. Legal documentation. Military record. Permanent proof. 21 copies made. 1 for each woman. Official American military documentation of what happened. What was said. What was meant. What was misunderstood. The women hold their copies. Paper proof. Stamped proof. Enemy proof that they were victims, not participants. That shame was assigned by mistake, not earned by choice. Will this documentation actually protect them when they return to Japan? Will official enemy records override cultural judgment? Will truth documented by enemies matter more than assumptions made by their own people? Nobody knows. But Kiko's instinct says documented truth survives longer than spoken explanations. Written proof outlasts verbal denials. 40 years later, that documentation saves one woman's life in a way no one could have predicted. No one could have predicted. Because 40 years later, enemy records become the only proof that survives cultural judgment. 1985 Osaka. Kiko is 66 now. Gray hair. Weathered hands. Grandmother to 3. Living a quiet life that successfully hid her POW experience for 4 decades. Then her daughter-in-law discovers old photographs, asks questions, family rumors begin. Comfort woman. Willing participant. Collaborator. The accusations are whispered, vicious. Destroying her reputation without evidence. Tekiga watashitachi no shinjitsu o hozan shita. Watashitachi no kuniyori moyoku. Su enemy preserved our truth. Better than our own country. Kiko goes to her drawer. Pulls out the 1945 American military documentation, 40 years old. Yellowed. But official stamps still visible. Signatures still clear. Truth still documented. 12 pages. Morrison's admission of mistranslation. Tanaka's linguistic analysis. Dental examination records showing life-threatening infections. Photographs of diseased teeth. Official acknowledgement. Communication failure, not sexual participation. She presents the documents to her family. Aged paper unfolding. Official American military records. Stamped. Signed, dated August 1945. Legal proof of what really happened, her son reads. His expression changes. From suspicion to understanding. From judgment to grief for what his mother endured. Her daughter-in-law reads. Tears form. The accusations die. The rumors stop. Because enemy documentation equals unbiased proof. Official military records override cultural assumptions. Of 21 women, 18 returned to Japan after the war. 12 faced accusations of sexual collaboration based on rumors, whispers, assumptions. 3 with documentation were exonerated. 9 without documentation lived in shame until death. Documentation equals the difference between honor and exile. Between family acceptance and social death. Between truth remembered and lies believed. The women who kept their American military records survived culturally. The women who threw them away, ashamed to possess enemy documents, had no proof when accusations came. No defense when rumors spread. No evidence when judgment fell. Kneel. Open your mouths. Now. 6 words that made 21 women believe the worst was coming. 6 words that became a lesson in how language kills, how assumptions destroy, and how sometimes your enemy's records tell the truth your own people refuse to hear. When a misunderstood order makes you prepare to comply with something horrific, are you a victim or a participant? If enemy documentation proves your innocence, does that make their truth more valuable than your own culture's judgment? Comment below. Would you trust enemy records over your own people's assumptions? In war, sometimes the most dangerous weapon isn't a gun, it's a word spoken wrong.